Melo's Kingdom is a new children's short story book in which a little girl called Melo and her special animal friends go into the African bush. It is tales for young minds highlighting the importance of values, honesty, courage, respect, teamwork and kindness while exploring the wonders of creation. The stories are written by former public protector Thuli Madonsela and members of her family. It's very difficult to ask about this adventure storybook without also talking about some of the country's more serious stories as well. So hopefully during this interview we can do both of them. But let's welcome Professor Thuli Madonsela and congratulate you on the release of this beautiful little adventure book for children. Lovely, lovely idea. Welcome and congratulations.
Good morning. Thank you for the privilege, Eliane, and good morning to everyone.
So, as we understand, Melo is your granddaughter. Would it be safe to assume that she inspired the title and the book and the stories as well? Talk to us about it.
Absolutely, she did. She did inspire the title of the book and the approach, the current approach in the book. I had always wanted to write stories using African fables and African proverbs because that's the way I was brought up. And I thought this privilege should be extended to the next generation because it brings families together. It brings joy to families. It also grounds children in values without them realizing that we're being grounded in values.
Yeah.
But when Melo was born, she had, her first toy was an elephant, and she has since acquired a whole lot of toys that are animals. And when I watched the movie Christopher Robin, I got the idea that we could have Melo start talking to her toys and have this special relationship with the elephant Zina, which reminds her or awakens her to the reality that she's a princess and grooms her for the road ahead.
Yeah. I mean, you actually posted on social media recently asking, how do you engage with people who don't read? How do you respond meaningfully to people who make up facts? That was what you were saying. I mean, one of the big issues that we've always spoken to is the fact that we have a society that doesn't read. What is the importance of cultivating a reading of culture? I mean, I beg your pardon, cultivating a culture of reading, I should say, from a very, very early age.
Well, it's just reading to children and encouraging them to read for themselves. My children will read anything on sight because for as long as they were able to read, there was always something to be read to them and something for them to read. Melo, she's only 2.5 years and she has started to read already because she sees everyone reading. She gets read to. But having said that, Leanne, I do think that the millennials and Generation Z, they read a lot. What we need to do, though, is to read for meaning. I think because people are reading too many things and because people are being influenced by the echo chambers that they live in, everything new that comes up, they often don't read it. They often don't pay enough attention to the detail. They immediately use the narrative in their echo chamber to interpret whatever you're saying, even if what you're saying is not what they think you say.
It is. It's so interesting. I mean, I think what you're saying is right. We're just so inundated with information and there's so much around us. But to actually focus into a book and to immerse yourself, there is nothing better than doing something like that. And you get rid of the noise because there is just too much noise about it. But many people asking this question, why a children's book? We would have thought that this would be the right time to write a biography. I mean, we know there's the one by our SABC colleague, Tandeka Gobule, who wrote No Longer Whispering to Power. But one thinking, you're going to write your own book or a book about politics, or is that still coming?
It's still coming. But, you know, Leanne, when you have a place of retreat, you don't really work hard enough because Tandeka did a version of my life it sort of maybe took away the pressure of doing an autobiography, but I've been doing it, and hopefully by the end of this year it will be final, and early next year it will be released. But why a children's book? It's really something I've always wanted to do for the longest time. Initially, I only wanted to write about Proverbs because I love Proverbs. And that's how I grew up. It was my mother always had a proverb about anything, whether good or bad. And that was her way of molding us as children. And then later, I also wanted to transmit the art of storytelling, because storytelling is essential in any event to understanding. It's essential to communication. It's essential to connecting as people. So why not start with the little ones? In Zulu, we say, "Lukochwa lusemanzi," meaning you mold them whilst they're still green.
I think it's absolutely wonderful. And I know that within all of it, there's really a message in each story reinforced by a relevant scripture, a verse, a prayer. Obviously, religion is very, very close to you.
It is. I was grounded in religion from birth. I was raised as a Seventh-day Adventist, but I also had exposure to Methodist and even Zion Christian Church. So I really was grounded in this. But religion has really helped me in difficult times. I've gone through different phases in my life, being super religious, an atheist, agnostic, Christian Scientist, and then back to Christianity. And then for the book, although it talks about God the way we understand God as a family, it has nuggets of wisdom and nuggets of faith for everyone, including those who are not Christians. And when everything is really, really rough, the one thing that keeps you going is knowing that the supreme intelligence that puts you in this world will not let you down. If God allows you to go through something, there must be a purpose in what you're going through. And that's why with Melo too, everything that she goes through, there is a message about this is part of your purpose in life. Starting with the very beginning where she meets Queen Zina, who is there to help her understand that she is a perfect expression of God's magnificence, and that she has a purpose in life. And also just that Queen Zina herself, the elephant, a purple elephant that's smaller than others, was born for a purpose. Being different is part of the beauty of the tapestry of life.
I want to bring this into your life now, and I want to talk about from a lot of things that what you're saying, that your purpose in life, and talking to the fact that you are different. And that was one thing that I think South Africa gained a lot of respect for you during your tenure as the public protector. You stood out. Many described you as having a thick skin, sticking to what you believed was right, sticking to the course of law, sticking to things that really mattered for the development of the country. I want to bring into this conversation a recent social media post that you made, and there's been a lot of response to this, and I want to get your I need understanding of what you meant by this, where you suggested that an amnesty be granted to corrupt individuals who played a minimal but critical role in corruption. Explain this to us, and then perhaps we can quiz your thinking on this.
Thank you, Liam. Two things. Firstly, I acknowledge why people don't like the idea. People feel that powerful people get away with impunity all the time, either because they have money to buy their way out, or they're politically powerful to squeeze themselves out of situations. This is not what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to give powerful people a get out of jail free card. The idea is to have people that can help us to get to the bottom of the systemic corruption in our country, including state capture. The State Capture Commission has excavated a lot of it. But you will agree with me that in some cases we get aspects of it, and we're not getting the full story of, if, for example, a politician was corrupt and one person in the system was working with them, it's impossible that one person was working with them. There's always a whole web of people, a spider web of people inside and outside. For example, in the procurement system, you need some people that are going to collude. In the financing, for people to prepay you when the system says nobody should be prepaid, as happened in ESCOM. When people get paid for work not done, there has to be somebody in the system who has been leveraged to do that. And we need to know who are those people, so that, number one, we should know to what extent are they contaminated, and possibly even recycle them, move them away from their positions, so that we break the system, we break that chain of command of corruption. But secondly, to also get the full story so that we can reset the system and rebuild it.
Yeah. If we look at that and we bring in a system like this, I mean, is it not setting a bad example for those that will follow on, knowing that, all right, well, I'll just do this and I'll get away with it. I'll get an amnesty and it's not a problem. And where do you draw the line? I know Richard Calland wrote an article which was quite an interesting read. I imagine whether or not you've had a chance to look at it. But when we talk about the idea of granting amnesty for corrupt people, no matter how big or small, doesn't that set us on a bad course? Whereas setting an example and saying that, which you have done in previous findings as public protector, we're saying no matter how big or small, corruption is wrong. No amnesty should be granted. You should be punished for what you do that is wrong. Why change your tune? What has led to you changing this idea?
Firstly, everything that you've said is 100% correct. I'm with you. But 100% of zero is zero. Am I right?
Certainly, yeah.
The people that we are unable to catch right now, we have 100% failure of catching them. So nobody is going to wear any orange overalls, because this amnesty or something similar to amnesty call is for fishing out the ones we don't know. The truth is that the truth would come out eventually, but it might come out when they're 70 or something like that. We want to catch them now, firstly, so that there's accountability, but secondly, so that we can detoxify the system. But just lastly, I'm not asking for truth and reconciliation. I'm asking for truth, justice, and reconciliation. Yeah. Because things that we're missing in the truth and reconciliation process in our country was the justice factor. But here we're not saying get out of jail free. We're saying we want full disclosure. We want accountability. We want you to take responsibility, pay back the money. And again, I'm only looking here at possibly the admin people, the finance admin officer, the procurement clerks, the CFO, people who were not the kingpins, who were not the instigators, who were not the main beneficiaries, but their participation in the value chain was crucial for this to happen. And they're still in the system right now. We don't know about them, but they're still in the system. And chances are, if they're still in the system, they will be corrupt again. Mm-hmm. Because why they will be corrupt is that the people outside will leverage the strings they have over them to get them to do something wrong. And how will they do this? They will threaten them with exposure. So rather have them expose themselves than be puppets who are pulled by the wrongdoers who are outside.
Yeah.
But secondly, they might also be corrupt because they need money. If they know that the truth will one day come out, because the truth may be delayed, but it always comes. Mm. And to make sure that they are ready when the truth comes, they might be inclined to get involved in other grand schemes of corruption so that they can have money to bail them out, to bail themselves out, when the day comes, when Judgment Day comes.
Yeah. You know, I ask why now, because, and I think it's a very crucial question, and we're running into time problems as always. Because we are seeing arrests. We are seeing the hawks working, the SIU, the NPA coming forward, making arrests. We as South Africans are, as we heard from Professor Tefo in the earlier hour here on Morning Live, talking to the fact that we're suddenly seeing a light. And then we hear you saying, we shouldn't go for the small ones, let them go, let's give amnesty. But finally, we're seeing something happening. And it's the timing I'm asking. Should you not be withholding those comments and watch the law take its course? Because it seems that things are working, that we're finally getting to the bottom of the string of corruption. People are living in poverty. And no matter where you played a role in stealing and being corrupt in this country and the greed, you played a role and you need to be held accountable. Should not that not be the way of looking at it, rather?
Firstly, congratulations to the NPA and everyone who's involved in this process. And I do agree with you that we're turning the corner in terms of accountability. And personally, I knew that we were going to turn the corner, that the new NPA or the new leaders in NPA needed to firstly detoxify the system, reground the system, reset it, rebuild it, and then be ready to strike with a system that would be competent to strike. I see these processes as complementary. I don't see what I'm suggesting to be something that would replace what is happening. We're saying we're getting some of the big guys right now, but you said something remarkable and extremely important, Leanne, something that I feel very strongly about, as you do, that we need all of the money for this country to turn the corner when it comes to inclusion, when it comes to not leaving people behind in terms of poverty, inequality, and everything that has to do with the underdevelopment of the past. We need all of the money we can find.
Yeah. Professor, Professor, I'm so sorry to do this to you. We were having a tiny bit of problem with your audio as well. Can I ask you to stay for just a few minutes? We have to unfortunately say goodbye to our SABC2 viewers. I don't want to leave our conversation hanging like this. We certainly will continue to speak to our former public protector and also author of a kiddies book that just was launched yesterday, but also talking to some of her views that she has been very vocal about on her social media account lately. So we just want to continue to pick her brain. Don't go anywhere if you have Channel 404, that's SABC News. We will continue this conversation, but we have to say goodbye to our SABC2 viewers. It is 8 o'clock. Have a beautiful weekend. We'll be back with you on Monday morning. Take care. Bye-bye.